Welcome back to NTV News First Edition. Last week on Get Psyched, we discussed how small social interactions can make us happier. But what about when people don't feel socially connected? Well, here to discuss the impact of loneliness on our physical and mental health is Dr. Janine Hubbard with Get Psyched. It's great to see you again.
Well, likewise.
Isn't it normal to feel a little lonely?
Absolutely. Listen, an occasional feeling of loneliness, either on a temporary basis or because of a life change, absolutely very normal. But what we're finding is there's some interesting research looking into what they call chronic loneliness, where it's a much more prolonged state and it can actually cause a fair bit of distress.
So how does it impact us?
Well, it's interesting because it's also important to remember the difference between solitude, which is, being quite happy in your own company, and loneliness, which they consider an involuntary state where someone really wants social interactions and wants those social connectedness, but just feels that they can't have them. And it's amazing. It has an impact on things like our cardiovascular, our heart health. It affects our sleep. It affects our eating. It can cause an increase in substance use, depression, puts you at an increased risk for suicide, can cause memory issues, concentration issues. So we're seeing it being a really impactful condition when it goes on for a long period of time.
So what can we do about it?
Well, certainly if you are someone who is aware of someone in your network or perhaps a neighbor who, maybe has been recently widowed or divorced or, just doesn't, their kids just haven't been able to come around because of COVID, try to reach out. Try to form some of those social connections. We talked last week about how tiny ones can start a friendship. Continue those, reach out. If you are someone who is feeling a prolonged state of loneliness, being aware of it, being aware that it can have long-term impact and it's not something that's necessarily going to resolve itself on its own, talk to your physician. Remember all those physical effects. Try to strengthen some of your small connections. Reach out. Again, we all got really disconnected over COVID. Reach out. If you're perhaps new to a situation, new to a town, it's making that active decision to get involved in something where you're going to have a chance to meet people and actively putting yourself out there in terms of trying to form new friendships, which we know is hard. And if you feel you are really struggling, please reach out, see your physician, look into some counseling to help you gain some additional skills to overcome the situation that's put you in that state of loneliness, because nobody should be lonely if that's something where they're in an unwanted situation.
Dr. Janine Hubbard, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks.